Well, hello and welcome to the show. Today we have a very special guest for you. And today's guest is someone that I've actually known for many years. And you know what? She is a true force in our community for good. And not only in our community, even beyond our community, she's a true force for good. And I am certainly glad to have her here today. Let me give you a little bit of her bio, and then we're going to actually formally bring her onto the mic. But as I read this bio, it's Dr. Froswa Booker-Drew. She's the founder of Soulstice Consultancy, where she provides philanthropic guidance, community engagement strategies, and leadership development for companies and nonprofits. She also leads the Reconciliation and Restoration Foundation, which amplifies and supports Black-led nonprofits. Her impact reaches far and wide, from co-founding Heritage Giving Circle and Power in Action Dallas to serving as an adjunct professor at Tulane University and a research affiliate at Antioch University. She's received numerous honors, including the Mara Award from the Texas Women's Foundation and the United Way Public Service Award. And she's the author of several thought-provoking books that challenge how we see leadership, service, and personal growth. Her newest work, Porch Wisdom, continues that legacy, offering powerful lessons on mentorship, coaching, and sponsorship, especially for women of color navigating today's professional landscape. Froswa, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
I'm honored to be here with you. You know I love you.
Absolutely. I love you right back. And I will tell you truly, when I say a force for our community and beyond, you have been that for many years.
Thank you.
I was introduced to you probably some 30 years ago.
God, yes.
From Miss Ernestine Cole.
Oh, my God.
That's
a blast from the past. Oh, yes.
And I have just seen you ever since just continue to go throughout the community, impacting the lives of people for good. It's really an honor to have you here today and to have your daughter sitting across from us to really be able to, she's witnessed it up close and personal, but to continue to see that. And now you're actually helping her to find that, and that continues your legacy.
Yes.
And man, I'm excited about that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chris, for everything. You've been right there with me all the way.
Well, I've been trying to keep up. Let me say that.
You're doing it.
In all honesty, I'm just trying to keep up. But let me just ask you, this particular book, what inspired this particular work? I mean, like we talked about, you've done so many things to impact so many people. What inspired this work?
Thank you. This is what's crazy, Chris. I didn't plan on writing this book. I was doing leadership circles for women of color, and it was through the Christian Community Development Association. And I had been doing these circles, just helping women who were all around the country using their faith as a lens to navigate some of the challenges they were facing in leadership. And many were in ministry or nonprofit management. Okay. And this publisher, I have always wanted to work with InterVarsity Press. And the previous book I went to them with, and they said, nah, so Baylor did that one. They came to me with this one and said, we see the leadership circles that you're doing. Why don't you write a book on women of color in leadership? Well, I couldn't turn that down. When you have a publishing company, that's one of the bigger Christian publishing companies, say, we want you to do this. I was like, okay, we're going to write a book. I guess that's what we're doing, And I will say this, it was one of the hardest books to write.
Wow.
But it was such a gift to be able to put my experiences along with data and put my, faith in it to help women go through some of the most challenging seasons that we all will face with dealing with rejection and dealing with trauma in the workplace and knowing that God is with you no matter what.
Wow. To hear you even say that something is hard is, really, it kind of stumbled me a little bit because I've never heard you say anything was hard out of all the things I witnessed you do. So what did you learn about yourself in this process?
Oh, wow. I learned that God has been with me, that nothing happens by accident. I think sometimes when you're going through it, and I've had some hard seasons and wasn't always very public about what I was going through at the time. And it wasn't necessarily that I was hiding it. I was going through. Yeah. And it was recognizing that all you go through, God wastes nothing. And I think that's what I learned is some of the experiences that I look back on that I thought were unimportant jobs that I looked at and went, I don't know why the Lord has me doing case management early in my career. I could see throughout my journey how God's hand was through it all, that he was using all of those experiences. And what we may look at and think is not important, it is a part of your growth and your journey. So I saw that God was working through everything. He used everything that I've gone through to get me to where I am now.
Man, when you talk about using everything you've gone through early in the book, you talk about how someone believed in your leadership abilities early back in, even back in high school.
Yes.
Talk about how that belief in you helped to shape the woman you've become.
You know, when you're young and even sometimes more seasoned saints, you don't always see what other people see.
Yeah.
And you're constantly questioning, can I do this? I had some amazing folks along the way who saw things that I couldn't see in myself and who called it out. And they spoke to that person. And that's one of the things that I'm also learning in my journey is we can speak to where people can go, even though they may not receive it. Think about when God says to Gideon, the angel comes and says, mighty warrior, you know, mighty man of valor. Oh my goodness. He wasn't that when God spoke
Felt
to
like
him.
anything but that.
Completely. He's hiding, you know, away from the Midianites. He doesn't want to be caught. He's hiding. And yet God saw something. And I think the lesson for me with all of those experiences is we have to speak into people and speak life. And that's what these people had done. I think that shaped me because it made me start doing the same thing to young women and men, where it's like, you may not see the power that's in you, but I'm not going to speak to who you are now. I'm going to call out what I know God is doing and where I know you're going to go.
Man,
that's the thing that shaped me, is just people speaking life into me. And so it made me want to be the same kind of person and speak that into others.
Man, I love that. I love that. And it reminds me of something that Les Brown often talked about. He talks about the fact that sometimes you have to borrow someone else's belief in you until your belief catches up.
Yes.
Yeah, and that sounds like
yes.
exactly what
yes,
you did.
because I didn't see it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm this girl from Shreveport. You know, I'm not in all of these amazing organizations. You know, my parents, although they had a business, they were struggling. I mean, it was so much that was going on. And yet I was around all these amazing people and didn't even see that. I went to church with folks who were landscapers and teachers. And the church was this place for me where I had all this love and support. And at the time, I just looked at these people and went, okay, this is what I'm around. God was even using those people that I'm around to put seeds and deposit things in me that help grow me. What a gift. And I don't think we see that when we're going through it.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the high school experience where someone saw the leadership in you. Well, there's also that contrasting experience that you talk about as well, where you went to someone looking for guidance early in your career and you were dismissed.
Yes.
Talk about how that moment influenced you and how you promised to do things differently.
It hurt because I was looking for someone to be a guide for me.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it was looking for a mirror. I wanted someone to reflect back to me what I could be. Yeah. So having that experience in high school with someone doing that, I wanted that as I got older, someone else to be able to do that. And that was painful because what they reflected back to me was what I was probably already feeling was I wasn't important. And I wasn't worth their time. Now that I'm older, I can see a lot of different variables. I understand people are busy.
Yeah.
But one of the things that experience made me do, as busy as I am, was make a commitment to younger women that when they ask to see me, and I may have to say, y'all, it might be a couple of months. Yeah. I'm going to get you on the calendar so I can spend time. And I may not be able to give you a whole afternoon, but I want to give you some time so that you know you're valuable. Yeah. That's what it made me do. It totally changed the way I started seeing young people and what they were asking for. And then when I look at people like Bimnet Mashesha, Bim came up to me at Movement Day. And it was actually Taylor Toynes who said, I got a friend who wants to talk to you. And she didn't think I was going to have a conversation with her. Long story short, fast forward, Bim ends up working for me at World Vision, ends up coming to the state fair with me. This sister now is a VP of Girl Scouts, and then brought me on to work with her or my daughter. And as I could go on and
started out as your volunteer.
Yes, Bim started as a volunteer.
Started as a volunteer with you and then became the colleague.
Yes. I mean, and
because of your shaping.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, talk about, I didn't want to steal your thunder, but I want people to be able to see the progression because she started out with you. Someone had a conversation with you, started out as a volunteer. Yeah. And then because of the guidance that you were able to give her, then she later becomes a colleague.
Yes.
That's the value of mentorship.
Yes.
And the importance of it.
Yes, and that this young woman would say to her boss at Girl Scouts, we need her to come and help us with doing our plan. So now I'm working for you. You know, the contract is over and they're doing great. But the fact that you would say, we need her, how many people bring their bosses, former bosses back and go, I want to work with you? That to me was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. What a gift that you saw value and that I could go and have humility and go, thank you. I'm going to work with you. You tell me what you need me to do. Yeah. I don't want your job. I just want to support you. You know what I mean? Yeah. What a gift that she trusted me that I could be in that space for her in that season.
See, I think that story, and I had it here to talk about it, and you mentioned it. I was glad you did, because I think that speaks to everything that you're talking about in the book. I mean, it's reaching back, it's pulling someone along, it's pouring into their life to get them to the point to where they can even get into the decision-making position to be able to say, we
and
need
she
her.
Bad, and the girl is bad. I look at her and I'm like, when you hit
because
40,
she stood
45,
on your shoulders.
Oh my God, she's so bad.
I'm not taking anything away from her. I don't know her all that well, so I'm not really taking anything away from her. But I'm just saying, when we have the ability to stand on someone else's shoulders, we're supposed to rise higher because we started from a different level of position.
Yes, and there's a level of comfort that you have to have with doing that too. Yeah. And I think it's knowing that there is no competition. Yeah. That God has a lane for you, and people can want to compete with you, and that's fine. Whatever God has ordained for you, they can even do the same thing that you do, and it's not going to look like you. I have a friend in Austin who does the same kind of work that I do, and he told me, he said, Froswa, it's not going to look the same, because your experiences are different. So when we mentor, we got to be comfortable in allowing people to shine. Because when they shine, that brightness comes on you too.
That's true. You know, one of the things you talk about is you say that people tend to mentor those who remind them of themselves, which often limits opportunities for women of color. So how can leaders become more intentional about breaking those patterns?
I think it's looking at your network. I think leaders have to be very intentional about it. It's comfortable to be with those that are like you. It's a type of social capital that's called bonding, which we all do. We love being with people like us because they remind us of us. I think leaders have to be intentional to look at this ideal of bridging social capital. So what does it mean as a leader to go, I got to get people, even though they may look like me. There's nothing wrong with that. But we got to go beyond that. They have to have different ideologies. They got to have different experiences. Bimnet, although we look similar because of coloring, Bimnet is an immigrant from an immigrant family. So that was different culturally because I didn't have the same experiences. But we have to be able to open ourselves up, because just as I was pouring into her, mentees can teach mentors a whole lot too. She helped me grow and stretch me. So especially in this political environment, as much as race is challenging and we have to go beyond that, ideology is one too, because it's very easy to just be around people who amen what you do. And I think we have blind spots when we do that. So what does it mean for everyone to be open to, I need to have folks who can help me see things that I'm not comfortable in seeing, that I'm not even aware exist. That helps grow your leadership.
Yeah, the value of DEI.
Yeah, well, that destroys planes and things like that, you know, unbelievable.
We won't go down that
We won't do that.
But I do want to talk about mentor versus sponsor, because I think many times you point out that folks use those interchangeably, but you say that there's a huge difference. Talk about the difference between those two.
And they can exist. You can have a person who gives wisdom, which is a mentor that you're learning from their experiences. A mentor can also be a sponsor who says your name in rooms that you're not in. Gotcha. They can be interchanged, but they're not often, because sometimes mentors may not use their network or they may not have it. But you want their wisdom and their experience to give you insight. I had a young lady who would come for mentoring sessions. She would have a whole agenda. And she's like, this is what I want from you. I just need to learn things. That's what a mentor does, is goes, let me give you information that can accelerate your journey. But a sponsor is the person who goes, hey, this person needs to be at this table. You're not even in the room, but they are opening doors for you. The challenge is, especially in corporate America, is that when you have people of color who are in those spaces, they often aren't close enough to the people with power, so their names aren't being spoken. And that's why it's important for folks to be very intentional about going, who's missing, and making sure that we're bringing people up and not just the folks that are familiar to us and make us comfortable. Sometimes we need to lean into the people that make us uncomfortable and go, let me learn more about why that is, so that I can see my own blind spots. And so I would hope that you could get someone who is a mentor that serves as a sponsor, but quite often that's not always the case.
Man, I love that. So this mentee who came in with the agenda, is that something that you could really respect and appreciate?
I was blown away. This young woman was like, I know you have this much time. These are the things I want to know from you.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Be intentional about what it is you hope to get from me when you ask me to mentor you.
Because otherwise we'll just talk and you'll get some nuggets here and there, but she was very deliberate about what wisdom that she wanted me to give.
Wow. So let's talk about the power of Zeb. You talk about Zeb, someone who didn't just advise you, but advocated for you when you weren't in the room, sort of like we talked about the sponsorship.
Yes.
But talk about Zeb.
Zeb Strong was an amazing man, and I miss him. I know a lot of us do because of the impact that he had, but Zeb was at UT Arlington, and Zeb would always call out in me the things that I could not see. He would have me speak at conferences, and I'm thinking, Zeb, I'm not that smart. Oh my God, what are we doing in this room? He would have me do all of these things and bring me along with him to see what was happening. And I remember I ended up at like 20 years old. I may have just graduated from college, and I ended up speaking at Notre Dame. Wow. Because Zeb was the one who put me in the room with those people and was saying my name. Yeah. So he saw things in me, and he was like, you need to do this. You need to be here. He started me recruiting as a student at UTA, and I met some amazing young people who came to school because they were like, I saw you with him. Wow. And I didn't know what he was doing, but he was building this pipeline of leadership using me and others to help bring in more students. The man was remarkable and missed.
Wow. So you talk about being forced to do those speaking engagements. Now you're speaking at conferences all the time with tens of thousands of people because of those experiences.
Yes, it's God.
Yeah.
And God uses, I call them destiny helpers. That God uses these people to come into your life for such a time as this. Yeah. And so I miss Zeb, but I thank God for how he was used in my life to be able to go, you don't see the possibility, but I do. Yeah,
we all need someone like that.
Yes,
wow.
Yes.
So when we talk about wearing hats, you've served as a mentor, sponsor, and coach to so many. What shifts in mindset or responsibility come with each of those roles?
Well, I think with being a coach, it's encouragement. I think that's one of the roles that you play is helping people see themselves in a way that they don't. But it also leans into mentoring and saying to people, hey, let me tell you my experience and how I can shape you with, I had a call this morning with a person I'm coaching, and it's so interesting how God will use you to help people if you allow him to do that. So I always pray, God, what do you want me to tell people? But in that moment, what she needed was someone to coach and go, hey, you got this. Yeah. But someone to go, hey, you need to look at risk. You're not mitigating your risks very well. And you need to look at relational risk. She was like, I never thought about relational risk. Yes, because you could do things that could harm people that you want to help. And if you don't think of that as a part of your strategy, she was like, I never saw that. Well, that's what a mentor does and says, hey, because I know what that can do if you don't pay attention to that. So I think that's what, for me, it's those different abilities, but they all some kind of way converge, you know, where it's able to, I'm able to go, let me help you with this, but let me also call someone and help you. I've got a contact that can help you with this, and using my network, that's the sponsorship piece. Yes. So I don't know if they're separate, but I guess because of how I am, they all come together and show up in everything I do.
Yeah, it depends on the need at that particular moment, I guess. Yeah. But I guess when you talk about mentoring, sponsoring, and coaching people, there are so many folks today who are reluctant to do it because they have their own issues and things that they're going through. But your life doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, and everything doesn't have to be going right in order for you to be able to offer value to someone else, does it?
Oh, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be in shambles. You could actually be doing good. We all need improvement. Yeah. And so I think what I try to be for folks is a mirror. I want you to see yourself, but I want you to also see what God is saying about you. And a lot of my work is really, one of my folks I coach, he's like, you're my spiritual director. And I was thinking, I never saw it that way, but I always rooted in faith. If you don't want to go there, we won't. It's going to get woven in some kind of way, and it's not preachy, but that's just who I am. But it's helping people to see their possibilities. So even if you think things are good, there's always an opportunity to manage risk. And that's what I like to help people think about, to look at purpose and making sure that you're walking in purpose.
Yeah.
And even if you are, what are some things that we can do to get you even closer to accelerating what God has for you?
I love it. Do you feel that you're being called in the ministry at any point?
So let me tell you this conversation. My daughter is laughing. So I went through this ministry cohort, and I am struggling with, I know God has called me. Yeah. I am struggling with what that looks like. And some of that is I'm having to decolonize my mind because I grew up Southern Baptist. Yeah. And I saw women, I'll never forget this. My mother was like at home a speaker. They would always have her come and do welcomes and stuff. And my mother would always have to stand down. She couldn't be in the pulpit. Yeah. And I remember it as a kid, and that shaped me, and didn't realize the messaging that had. And I've had female ministers, and I'm cool with that. I think I'm having to unpack, what does that mean for me, and what is God saying? And hearing all of this stuff growing up, but going, but God, you said you'll make the rocks cry out. You used the Deborah, you used the Esther. I know you're using me, but what does that mean? So I am still trying to figure out, God, what does that mean, and where do you want me to go with that?
Well, let's talk about, Front Porch. I mean, it sounds like a letter to the community. I mean, in some way. So are there more books in store?
Yes. Okay. It'll be a minute. Writing a book is like birthing a baby. It's like,
I've only done one.
It's it's a lot. And you're being vulnerable by putting your thoughts out there for people to criticize, to, condemn or condone. It's a lot. Yeah. And so, yes, the next one really for me, I've noticed this theme, and I don't know what God will do with this, but I've noticed trauma. I think we focus so much on individual trauma, important. I don't know if we focus enough on collective and community trauma. And that's one of the things that's been intriguing to me, is to watch people who are traumatized in traumatized communities who then use church as a way to deal with trauma that may re-traumatize people sometimes too. And so I'm watching a lot of this and going, God, I don't know what you want to do with this, but there's something that needs to be said about trauma. And I think about, there's a sister who wrote a book called Black Woman Grief. And she talked about Eve was one of the first people traumatized, was the first. Yeah. Never saw that. So could it be possible that we are passing down a spiritual DNA of trauma, that not only being expelled from the garden was traumatic, and she says that in the book, but I'm like, this woman was intimate with a man, had no point of reference. That had to be traumatic. Having a baby without having grandma and folks to tell you what to expect had to be traumatic. And yet God was with her the entire way. And when you read the Bible, you're reading all these stories of a lot of traumatized people. Yeah. So what do we do with that? And yet God is still there with us in the trauma. But at some point, we got to start unpacking what we're seeing and how we keep perpetuating that. That seems to be something that may be the next.
Okay. I love it. I love it.
We'll see.
But this is a great start to that, to begin get folks used to getting back into having those hard conversations. Because when you talk about, Front Porch, and you talk about being a mentor and a sponsor and a coach, I mean, those are things that, again, many folks don't find it very easy to do when we needed more here today.
Yeah. We need community. And I hope that the message for the book is that people recognize that you need a community of people. You need your own personal board of directors. Your organization, your company has it. So if those entities find value in the wisdom of others, we need that for our own personal lives too. Yeah, yeah. And let's just take it, when you talk about community, one of the things with community back in the day, when we just used the illustration of the front porch, it used to be you could drive through a community, and even if they didn't know you, folks would wave at you driving through that community. We don't have front porches in many of our communities. Everybody go in through the back, No, they don't know their
or
neighbors.
Sit in the backyard. Yeah.
And then you see on the news, I thought they were nice. When something bad happens, people always say, "It's like, how did you think that? You didn't know, They
never
killed.
Met them.
Yeah, they killed all these people. They seemed nice to me. They didn't make any noise, huh?" And so
The music wasn't too loud.
Right. And so you're like, that's what you base kindness on? Is okay, interesting. I think that, and this is another hope for the book, I hope it forces people to start thinking about their own front porches. Yeah. What does it really mean to create, even figuratively, this space where people convene with you and share? Because my experience was the elders, like you talked about, people waving. Yeah. It was our neighborhood watch. So elders would sit on the front porch, and then, like you said, they wave. They go back and talk about, well, who was that in that car that came by? Do you know them? I don't know them. What they doing over here? You know what I mean? Yes. So it was a point of the community to be able to monitor what was happening, but to also share. I remember sitting out there listening to elders talk, and I learned so much. Or people were braiding hair. And what we've done is, to your point, you go in the garage and we never know the people that we live next to. So what does it mean for us to, don't go and build a front porch. If you can, that's a beautiful thing. Yes. But what does it mean for us to create those spaces of convening and connecting? And I think we've lost that. And COVID, to me, exacerbated that, because we kept hearing the term, you need to socially distance. And the reality was we need to physically distance. But in that time, people needed each other. And you saw loneliness spike up. And people are still struggling. We're still on Zoom a whole lot. We're not back in person completely in a lot of ways. We have to be intentional about building relationships. We need each other.
I love it. As we get ready to land this plane, speak to that person who, again, may be reluctant to step up and be a mentor, to be a coach or sponsor for someone, knowing that they have value to add, but they're reluctant to do it because, again, maybe their life is not totally perfect and everything's not going totally fine for them, but they can add a lot of value to the people around them if they were to use their voice.
Be what you wish someone was to you. If you wish you had that, then be that person for someone else. And if you had that, how do you extend that to others? So the goal is not perfection. The goal is just to be available and recognize there is a win-win in this. It's not just about you giving to someone. It's about being open for someone to change your life and help you grow and see your blind spots. So you can win being a mentor. And that's what I hope people realize is it's very easy just to go, hey, let's have coffee. I want to learn more about you. And use that as an opportunity to take all that God has given you to be able to give that to somebody else and watch God grow that.
Dr. Froswa Booker-Drew, thank you so much for all that you do and all that you have done to truly impact the lives of others.
Thank you, Chris.
It's a pleasure to talk with you every time.
Amen.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.